finally sitting down to do a blog, and this is going to be me breaking down like kind of all of the weird, sort of the weird things that have happened to me in my life. Um, they're kind of all about something, and certain people will know what I'm talking about and what I'm referencing, and other people might not have a clue. But if you know what I'm referencing, then it's going to make a lot of sense to you. So in 1995, my mother told me something that I totally forgot, and that became relevant. I'm not going to say what it is, but it became relevant. Um, Around 1996, maybe a little bit later than that, I joined this website called the Internet Nirvana Club or something like that, the Nirvana Club, and I used it to promote B-side music and Dead Man's Holiday music, and I would post all of my music, all of my art, and all the information on me and my bands on that website around that time. Um, in 1998, on my birthday, June 19, 1998, it was actually also the day that I got my license. But somebody had called into Westfield High School, whose colors are black and red. They had called into Westfield High School saying that I was going to bring a gun to school, and I don't have a gun. I've never used a gun. I wasn't allowed to have guns when I was a kid, and I didn't bring that into adulthood at all. I'd never wanted to have one, um, just never had one. And somebody had called the school anonymously, um, saying that they were a parent and saying that I was going to bring a gun to school. Anyways, the FBI um, came and they were searching my neighborhood for me. The FBI came to my house when I was in school. B-side was actually practicing in the music room at the high school, and somebody came in and was like, "Chris, the FBI is looking for you." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And yeah, they did. The FBI came to my house on my 17th birthday, and that was pretty crappy. Um, so I've had a FBI file ever since then. In 1997, B-Side recorded our instrumental album under the name of Bliss, which I got from the book Come As You Are. I wanted to connect B-Side to Nirvana, and that was like my concept. So we released that under the name of Bliss before then going back to the name of B-Side. And what was interesting about that is the name. Some of you will get this reference to the cameras over here, and but the name of that album in 1997 is "When the Storm Is Over, the Lion Lays Down with the Lamb," and it was Bliss and we called it the Bliss tape. Um, and later on, I added lyrics to it, and it was recorded in the studio a couple of months later. B-Side's first studio album was called What Was Missed, and it had a kind of a similar cover to In Utero, a picture that I had drawn that wasn't related to In Utero, and I did it as kind of a joke with like a black background. And later on, In Utero was released with a black background um, when it was remixed, but the B-Side album has been around now for over 20 years. So, um, in 2002, the B-Side album Single Negative was distributed. It's an EP. It was distributed around New York City, specifically around the campus of Pratt. Like where Pam goes to school on The Office. That B-Side album was distributed around Pratt, and I guess it was more popular than I had realized at the time. We had a photo shoot with this guy, Vis Helland. We did some photo shoot in New York, on top of this building called the Music Building, where Madonna used to live. And that version of the band broke up soon after that. But in 2006, I sold the rights to one of my songs, the rights to the recording of the song, to Doer Scotch for $7,000. It was an option. I only ended up getting 5,000. The 7,000 option didn't happen because something happened and the ad campaign was abruptly canceled, and the company who had made the commercial completely disappeared. I contacted them like a couple of years later looking for some tax information, and that company was gone. Who did that ad campaign? I'm not really sure what happened with that, but that was the Dreams Nightmare song, and it was kind of all over. And there were some rights issues with that between me and the drummer, Justin. I believed that he had rights to it, but I was assured by the lawyers that because I wrote the song and because I paid for the recording, he paid for it not in money. So because I paid for it in money and because I wrote it, and I have proof that I wrote it, I even showed them like the original transcripts and everything. So they assured me that I could do that, and it wasn't any disrespect towards Justin, but I think that it's disrespect towards me when they know that that song is mine and they just played along to what I was doing. So I'm sorry, but it's true, you know. So I was approached in 2006 to do music for a movie. I think it was around 2006, and it was through a trans page that I had. I was at the time I was kind of experimenting, and I was around a lot of cross dressers online, and there was a cross dresser online who claimed to be a major Hollywood producer, and they wanted me to do this music for this movie, and there was all sorts of weird rules, and the deal ended up going through, or not going through. But the movie was released, and I knew immediately when the movie was released who was in this movie. People that I had met before were in this movie. It was a subject matter that I was very familiar with. So the whole thing was very strange. But famous director who cross-dresses did a movie about a musician. It was very similar to me. It had people in the movie who have met me. So anyways, in 2007, a friend of mine, Rachel, was an actress doing kind of local stuff, and invited me to go along to this movie shoot, and it was directed by Ringo Starr's stepdaughter and the fashion heiress Tatiana von Furstenberg. So those two people directed it, and they wrote it, and it had a lot of famous people in it who had careers at that time and who later had careers a couple of years later. I worked with Brie Larson, and I worked with Rooney Mara. And Rooney Mara, among other people. And they all went on to do things that were, again, strangely related to me and strangely connected to me in a very odd way. So that happened in 2007, and that the footage that was shot for that movie disappeared. I mean, I never saw it. My part was cut. Almost everything that we filmed on those days that I shot that movie were cut. And the movie, it took years for that movie to be released, and it finally was released with my part cut, except for this one shot of me getting pushed by, I think Rooney Mara was pushing me. Either Rooney Mara or Brie Larson. One of those characters were pushing me in the movie to see a puppet show. So something happened. As far as I can tell, something happened in 2007 when I shot that movie. And that is, it seems to be when all hell broke loose. I don't know. something happened. Somebody saw something, or somebody thought something. I've been, referenced in media without me being told it's going to be there. I'm referenced in media without my name being mentioned or my actual likeness being used. And it's very strange to know all these people and to be involved in this sort of entertainment industry, but not have anybody talk to me about it, to be quite honest with you. Whatever has happened with my life, and whoever thinks they know me, or thinks they know things about me, or wants to know me, or whatever, is reached to the point where I've noticed everything so much that it's drove me a little crazy. And I'd like to have a career and not just be like some sort of weird, I don't know. I don't really know what people are doing to me. And you could say I'm crazy, but there is stacks and stacks of evidence, and they might be circumstantial, but when there's so much circumstantial evidence that you just have to pay attention to it. And there's other references that I've noticed, other people who I've met, other movies that I've seen, other music that I've heard. I mean, Lord mentioning my street name, and also about bees in that song. I mean, and having it sound so sonically similar to the album Love Heroin and be called Pure Heroin, and then to play at the Nirvana Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, Kim Gordon, who I've met. Just, the list goes on, and all I'm looking for is answers. I don't want to sue anybody. I'm not looking to use anybody to get my albums released, obviously. I just want to be acknowledged as an actual person. And that's it.